Gina. Thanks very much for coming. I'd like to acknowledge where we're meeting today and also the elders, past, present and emerging, and particularly Marie today, who's the elder residents. 2:15 can be a bit of a time, can't it? Just to stay focused. So if you think we just need a good stretch, a minute, I don't know, wait till just a little bit. So look, my talk today is very much a work in process. It's a work in process on a practical foundation, but it's also very much a work in process. I'm just but it's also very much a work in process personally. So in this regard, I think you're going to hear a bit of a personal journey, which I hope that you are interested in. But I'm thinking also you might find some things in this, given the sort of people who are attending today and the sort of interests that you have, that might just resonate with you a bit. So the work that I'm talking about, I'm interested enough in it to do it for a very long time. And I'm interested enough in it that I've undertaken a PhD. Come and sit over this way. I'll sit here. Yeah. So yes, go ahead. Come and sit up like this side, which is better. So I've been a practitioner for a really long time, working across a range of fields, but particularly with audio and audio visual. So I'm talking like 40 years I've been working with those things. Some of those things have been in children's TV. Some of those things have been in substantially in news and news production and current affairs. So we're talking daily. You best be having it ready at 6 o'clock, otherwise it's no point in being here kind of news. I've also worked across documentary making and produced soundscapes for museums and quite recently for the new museum. And last year I was asked by the State Library to produce some soundscapes, and one of those particular soundscapes was about, why is this not working? Here we go. How's that? It was walking water. So off the back of what we've just been listening to and about, this very underneath watery wetland that we live on, and I don't know about you, but for me it's for a lot of my life here, since the 1980s and on, it's really the perception has been, we're such dry plains. So 2.0, I guess, is like there is a constant learning about where we are and whether or not we actually kind of really know where we are. So one of the things to do with sound and audio production is that you hear it a lot of times. The first time you hear it in reality, and then of course you hear it tens of times after that in the edit process, and if there's enough budget, in a really nice sound mix. So, things are coming to you. There's a lot of disciplines involved in production, and the people who are involved in those, of course, have international and local skills. And so I've been very fortunate to be working in Whadjuk country and really closely with the elders, particularly since about 2012, like, you know, in weekly, monthly, with the elders around the area, and that just gets more dense, I find, in my experience. I'm happy to say that the elders I work with provide me with endorsement for my work, and I say that today because I asked Marie, I said, look, I'm going to be talking on this, is there anything you want me to say? She said, I want you to say that. So I have. So I do take strong direction and have done from the elders, certainly in the Whadjuk area, and that's particularly where my work's been in the last bit of time. So look, in 2022, and the third year of COVID, I've become a lot more conscious about what I'm listening to. And I'm hoping that some of this may resonate with you too. You know, that there is there's a fatigue, you know, there's a news fatigue. And you don't have to be an old journo to have a news fatigue or a COVID fatigue. I have not owned a television for the last 9 months. Doesn't mean I don't watch the news or catch up with the news, but I've just tried to remove a lot of cluttering sort of sound and just stuff I don't need to hear. There's a lot more birds. My hearing has changed in the last year. I listen a lot to the birds around where I live. I'm a sailor. I'm on the water. I listen to the water. I'm also a swimmer, and as a sailor and a swimmer, I enjoy the wind, but I also enjoy the lack of wind. So these are things that I have become just much more conscious of in the last, particularly the last year. I'm just going to hop out of that for a minute. And from a study perspective, I'm connected to reconnecting the rivers, which in part is to do with a wetland and in part to do with the river. And it's out at Woodbridge. It's in Curtin Uni. It's a project that's co-led, and Todd and Vanessa, who are also talking now, they are the leads of that. So as part of that kind of listening, can you hear this? Okay, so that's at Blackadder Creek. And what I'm finding is, and that's not a tricky record, that's just my phone. That's just my phone, that's just that I didn't smooth any of the audio in that. So there's not even any super production in there. But the capacity and the variance of the sorts of bird sounds and environmental sounds, I've found that they're making, a really enormous difference. Just to see if I can look back into this. Let's see. So it's a little like having your listening wake up. To reload. as I say, for a substantial amount of time and a substantial amount of time working in this space and listening in this space and producing things in this space, there's been a big shift. I think that this waking up of our listening that I think is going on, certainly not going on for me, but I also think it's going on for other people. I think the conference is evidence of that. You know, the Wetland has invited us here today. And, you know, the Wetlands has a lot of stories connected to it. And some of those are going to come out in the work that I'm doing for Wetland Centre. I want to just play this for you. And just make sure you know.
My name is Nyoongar, and I'm an environmental planner and designer based in Perth. Perth was and is a very watery city. There's a whole tapestry of streams and wetlands and waterways that cover the whole coastal plain. Rivers flowing down from the hills, and really interestingly groundwater that goes many kilometres below the city.
And as it comes up, it meets water that's, you know, going down from rain cycles and river floods and recharging aquifers that has once been in those deep aquifers and then produces itself in the ocean.
Okay, so Daniel, who we've heard from today, and also Noel Lanner, and interestingly, both those people that have emerged today in the discussions we had. So I've been engaged to produce a range of podcasts for this very, very special case. And that's going to include a range of interviews with specialist people. It's going to include cultural people and scholars and archaeologists and protesters, and in many ways, we hope that, you know, the gang's all there. And we've just started. So when I said that we've got just a little bit of an intro. Today, I've got a couple of excerpts from one of the productions we've already started that I can share with you. So some of the catchy titles that we're working towards are like, you know, frisky frogs and boisterous bats. Well, and the things that I've just started recording of these rough excerpts that I can just play for you today involve Joe Tonga. Has people heard of Joe? Most of you guys know Joe, or you've been on Joe's tours, or yeah. So Joe's an expert in. He's an expert in microbats, of course. And he's designed them. He's designed the boxes. There's a microbat city outside, 55 little microbat boxes, all attached to the trees and very close by. He's been very focused on all types of design, all types of material, all types of landing pads, direction that they might be facing to try to come to the sort of perfect place for life as a microbat. And here he tells me that there is 4 out of the 6 microbats who live in the vicinity.
Bats are really critical to the wetlands because they are the health indicator species. So if you've got lots of bats, you have a very healthy environmental setup. You want something when you add, you relax. The bats can have a varied diet. They love mosquitoes, so they just consume huge amounts of mosquitoes. They love midges. They love moths of all descriptions. So they've got very sharp, serrated teeth, multiple facets, like a shark a little bit, and it's made to chomp the hard bodies of the insects that they eat. And they can even, I've seen this happen here at WA, they can fly down to the ground and hover and then snap an insect off the ground, or go up to a trunk of a tree and hover in front of the tree and do the same, snap an insect off the trunk and fly off with it.
Otherworldly just outside. We go in here. Reflects. Well, 2 years ago, this talk would have just been about saying, oh, hi, we're doing 10 podcasts, it's going to be really good. We're going to talk to a whole bunch of people, we're going to be creatures, put it together, there we go. However, there's been a shift that I've found and that I'm trying to, I suppose, communicate a little bit today in the way that we're all heading. And some of the discussion today has been about ways of communicating and ways of using language and other ways of communicating without language. And part of what I'm doing is connected to some new research, and my focus is on becoming family with Nyoongar place. So what I'm finding is that the way that I'm now learning and the sorts of things that I'm reading are shifting the way the listening is happening and the way productions are happening. So this research, becoming family with Nyoongar place, has anyone kind of heard about this sort of notion before? Okay. So it's looking at complex relationships within landscape, within country, particularly within waterways, which is really quite helpful off the back of what Christine has just said, and particularly focuses on relationships between humans and non-humans. And it aims to strengthen the physical and spiritual connection to country for all folks. So these little macroats are, really helping us understand that. And, what's going on for them, within a lake environment, close to the Wetlands Centre, with Joe Tonga, with the visitors, with the trees, and with the mozzies that they eat, it's very much a relational focus. So this is kind of coming to a relational focus. And this is not new for Nyoongar anymore. It's been, we've been since they were around, which is a very long time. But more recently, scholars like Anne Paulina, who you probably have heard of, and people like Sandra Woods-Horton, Len Collard, Pierre Boyce, and David Palmer, have written about this sort of feeling and hearing country. So this sort of scholarly definition of relationship is about cultural context and connections with place. So, Len Collard will talk about things like, each tree, rock, each piece of vegetation is family. That's sort of, is family, it's not other, it's family. And he encourages spending a lot of time in country, and and things are really sorted in front of computers and in archives, but amongst birds and wind. A relational context includes animals and plants, seasons, the country, including the waterways, as well as the humans. And the emphasis is not on a human point of view. Other scholars of Indigenous theory argue a relational perspective is also used to describe a process of learning and a process of protocols and of accountability. So, it's very different to a Western perspective, which highlights an observational approach. This is described as analytic and as rational and not connected to permissions and protocols. So in human geography, there's this notion of co-becoming, which really highlights the relational aspect of country. The concept is broader than land and water, and it connects to everything as knowledgeable, vital and connected. So there is quite a bit of writing about, authorship, and the authorship of the waterway in which you are operating. So that becomes the lead author. You're not the lead author. The waterway becomes the lead author. So these are the sorts of things that are happening to be written about, informing where I'm heading next. The second part of this for me, and perhaps room for a little more expansion, is the strength of emotions, and that's for Nyoongars as well as Whadjuks. So there's something called the history of emotions research. I was fortunate enough to do quite a bit of this in 2012 and with the river. So it was rivers of emotion, people being connected to a part of the river that really meant something to them. So I'm pulling all this into this area of expertise. History of emotions research seeks to identify and chart changes in our emotions from a cultural and a temporal perspective. And it allows the exploration of emotional experiences of both Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal folks and in a wetland setting. So there's room for that. And bringing the history of emotions together with environmental history can deliver new ways of understanding contemporary emotional responses to our environments. So if we listen to Joe, and also the children in this, and listening just with an emotional lens, if you like, for a minute.
Bats are very social, and they do like to hang out with each other, not only for the social aspect of it, but because of its breeding habits. They like to generate heat, so if it's a cold winter's day, they'll huddle together, and the mums, especially if they're like the young ones, they'll all huddle together because they need the temperature of a hot, sweaty atmosphere. You can see the bats, they land on the bottom and then they climb up inside. That's how they use these boxes. So these are called landing pads. And you see them? Yeah, all at the top of them. They're all crowding up there. Go right underneath and look up through the gaps. You'll see their big little bodies. Stand right underneath and look up and have a look up inside. They're right in. You see their little bodies swimming around. Can you see them? They're looking down and saying, who's looking at us? So what are these faces on the ground? Have a look right underneath.
I saw them moving.
Can you see the brown part of his body and his head? See the top where his head is black? So that's how I know it's a goose wattle. Because this one, you can tell quite easily because he's two-toned in the colours. A lot of them are sort of about the same sort of colour, and it's hard to detect. But this one, you can see he's looking up. Look at that beautiful face.
So some of those sorts of responses that look they're not new, of course, little people, even big people, understand that this was being recorded, and you're all these tiny, they're this big, all crammed in and they're all next to each other and they're all busy looking around, and then all of a sudden they're there, and of course they're wonderful and the kids love them and the adults love them and no one's seen them. They live here and that's wonderful. But when you start to sort of think about the actual emotional repercussions, if you like, of that engagement, even though it's kind of common, like, of course kids are going to like small fruit or anything, it brings a lot of energy with it, but it also brings a lot of opportunity with it that has room to go further. So emotions first and foremost are revealed in how people, recount their experiences. So to not only to the landscape, but also to share space and that particular encounter. Well, you've got a little shared space with lots of microbats, but you've got a shared space with the children as well. So this kind of emotional connection, and there is history of emotions has come out of Europe. So it's come out of Europe from 1100 on, and emotions over time changed. And there's a lot of writing on that and internationally. But the strength of emotion that may come, and particularly from a European and white European background, that may also be embedded in where we are today, is one thing. But I think also when you start looking more closely at the emotional responses of the members of the Nyoongar community, they're really quite profound and they're incredibly intimate. So, for example, really strong sentiments. Sentiments like, I think, a loving type of relationship. How does Indigenous theory reveal emotions about country? So something like this. I think a loving type of relationship is a good way to describe it. I think there's an intimacy there. Like when you have a life partner, that sort of commitment to another. So that's from Stuart Barlow. And, that's a very strong place. From Len again, Len Collard argues that we should be feeling our way around the country and around history, and that's important, with Whitefella following behind Nyungar's family. So the new Wetland Centre podcast series aims to give voice to the rarity about where we live. And it'll include people who've been associated with this place, committed to this place for 20 years or so. People like Marie, who give a very wise lens across it. And then there'll be the star residents, including the microbats, including the long-necked turtles. And we've got a booking with the frogs next Friday night, so that should be quite the gig. I'd say it matters how we arrive at a place, what we do to find our way there. Orientation helps us understand not only where we are, but how our practices shape ourselves and our worlds, and how we might newly encounter environments and how we might listen. Thank you for listening to me.